I just know who I gravitate to, and I'm not even gonna try to fight it. She might start liking somebody too. I genuinely don't give a damn. Okay?
Let me start by saying that I hated this ass season. And not only did I hate it, I am disgusted. They had no business following up the diabolical, chaotic, entertaining ass, hot mess that was Temptation Island season 1 with this garbage, with this boring garbage. Before I saw anything, I knew that they wasn't gonna be able to bring nobody who could follow up what Breon was on. I knew they wasn't gonna have nobody that was gonna be able to see Breon, Grant, and Tyler for what the they was on. I knew that. I didn't even set myself up by letting my expectations be that high. No. My expectations was reasonably low, and they still disappoint me. I was disappointed from we met these couples. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. This season is so boring and irrelevant that I genuinely don't even know their names. Like, I don't even know the characters' names. I know the only people who names I know are Mikey, I think he gal named Sydney, and the only reason I could even say that to you is because I just see her Instagram, not because I remember it from the show. Mikey, Sydney, Xavier, and Xavier name stick out just because me and CJ look at that and we Xavier. Let me tell you something. I hate a stupid spelling. Anyway, Xavier, who fine? I give him that. Stupid spelling aside, he do look good. Mikey, Sydney, Xavier, Jack, because he's a piece of shit we could talk about. I don't even remember the name of Jack. Y'all, he was doing so bad. I know Carter and Yesenia names just because I hear it so much out of Jack trifling ass. You see that? I don't know his gal name, but I know his two side bitches name because that's how much he was doing. I know they name. Then I know Cole, because poor Cole is getting treated so bad, and I will be getting justice for him tonight. And I think that's it. I know anybody else? No, Dread. No. And half the people's names I just listed. Oh, Summit. I know Summit trifling. And I could get on Summit because for whatever reason, the show, you know what? Before I get carried away, roll the theme song, Aaron.
Black independent, strongest in women. It's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay now. I know that I'm worth it, so make sure to listen. It's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay.
Before I even get into the season, and I just could take these couple by couple, all right? And I just give you my thoughts because it ain't much to say because this shit wasn't even particularly entertaining. But let me start with addressing the real Mark Wahlberg. My last Temptation Island video, I sang the praises of the real Mark Wahlberg. My boy was a real ass in season 1 talking sense. But I don't know where the he is at this season. Like, my man's was showing up, but he wasn't showing up, if you see what I'm saying. Last season, he was getting these trifling together. This season, here's what killed me is of the 4 men, 50% was in shit and the other 50% was getting do bad because they women didn't love them. Like, let me just say this before we get started with even talking about it. Mikey and Cole gals, listen, let me explain something to y'all. As sure as I know my name is Olay Tulalupe Olurin, I telling y'all, them gals, Sydney, and whatever that white woman name was, them bitches did not like their They didn't like them at all. Oh, I gotta go back to my rant about the real Mark Wahlberg. But listen, let me just let y'all know right now. Damn bitches knew going into that house, they was leaving they there. They had no love for their men. There was nothing them gonna do to make them gals leave there with them. Damn women was determined. They never liked their men when they got in the house and they just wanted to leave them. Period, point blank, at the end. But we'll get back to it. Back to the real Mark Wahlberg. Last season, my mans was getting people together. But of the 50% of ancient that was there, not only was he letting them get off scot-free, Jack is a piece of shit. A piece of shit. He was this season's Grant. Except, like, you ain't even doing TV like Grant. Look here, Jack do a thing, man. Look here, look how disorganized this video could be because I have to rhyme. Jack in the first bonfire, first or second bonfire, they playing some game where they supposed to be, telling things, revealing things. Everybody else keeping it appropriate. The thing that Jack say, oh, he bet so and so, but he tastes like candy.
What the fuck is this?
When I tell you, me and CJ been doing this in the house all week, this say, spice it up! He
Spice it up!
this come but up must he taste like candy and say, spice it up! CJ say, this was the physical demonstration of him saying, it. His relationship, okay? Spice it up! Let me tell you, from now on, I said this host, spice it up! That is a demon, all right? Look here, a piece of shit. He been in a relationship. Let me just say this for this gal. I don't remember what she named neither. Him and his gal, they've been together 5 years, but they only 23. So that means they've been with each other, right? From she was a little girl. She been with this man for 5 years. He already cheated on her before. He ain't no good. That's clear. Soon as she come out his face, just like a grind ass, he off to doing nothing but debauchery. He's not only the first to be on debauchery, he was the only on that kind of advanced debauchery. Oh, wanna be grind ass. He doing nothing but every time there's a bonfire and all he has gal doing is complaining about him, he's like, I don't deserve this. You see how she talks about me? She talks about me real lowly. I don't deserve that. The other who know he cheating, sitting around there going, yeah, that chick. Yeah, you don't deserve it. And Mark Wahlberg right there feeding into the bullshit. I'm like, excuse me? What the is this? And you know what pissed me off? Jack is a whole cheater. A whole cheater and a liar trying to portray his girlfriend like she's some kind of villain who emasculates or vilifies him or talks about him bad. He tries to spin her saying, this man ain't never take me out on a date, he ain't never do nothing for me or whatever. And so, oh, she calling me broke. You see how she always just put me down in a relationship? She always calling me broke.
Hell
And
no.
Mark Wahlberg right there going with it. And so I said, what the is this? This can't be the Mark I know. And I mean every time. Like he really allowed this man to spin a narrative like this woman is mistreat him. She don't appreciate him. Like she don't value him, right? Okay. So that's the first thing. Then Summit. His name is Summit, but I say Summit. Like I gotta make him Indian. Yeah, if y'all watch 90 Day Fiance, Summit, if you know about Summit and Jenny, yeah. In my mind, I like you name Summit, but I only know Summit. Anyway, man, this Summit, which is a silly name. It remind me of, I remember going out with a white guy whose name was some silly man. Like his name was, he wasn't named Mount Everest or Mountain. He wasn't named Mountain, but he was named some silly like Cadillac. And it all his like, he was like, oh, my parents was hippies and all of them was named silly names. And I remember, as far as I didn't know, he was like an aspiring actor, right? Like, oh, he want to be an actor. And so I'm like, okay, we in New York City. You're an aspiring actor. Obviously, you're broke. You must be. I remember he take me out to a date, like this really fancy, like really expensive French restaurant. And I was like, why is this boy taking me here trying to impress me, Lord? Boy, this poor man could go, he could break himself, he could go, he won't be in poverty trying to impress me. I remember being like, no man, like trying so hard to like, me like, okay, let me pick the most modest thing off these expensive ass menus and these restaurants he taking me to because I want to break his bank, right? I remember he kept taking me to these expensive ass restaurants and I'm like, Lord, why does this poor man with this silly name keep breaking the bank? And then I remember I finally see his apartment. We walk into this apartment and this man was living like Alexander Petrovsky in Sex and the City. Like I shit you not. He had the whole floor. It was big, expensive, rich, wealthy. Like, what's this man talking about? I say, what the He says he's aspiring actor. I don't know him. He ain't never been in a night. Ever see he ain't no actor. My knowledge, what money he got out of what's going on? You should see me. And that's how I learned about white trust funds. That's how I learned about what it was like for white people who come from money. I said, oh, you have broke people job because you come from money. I see. Here I am out here trying to be sensitive to budget for no reason. Whole time, me thinking he broke. Whole time it's me who's the brokey. Anyway, why I even say that? Stupid names, right? Summit's gal is very clear through every word that come out of her mouth, they dynamic, everything, yada, 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 that Summit is a who has put this girl down. Tell her she ain't good enough, her body ain't good enough. One day he telling her, go to the gym, you need to lose more weight. Oh, then next thing he telling her, oh, she actually look too skinny. Her ass ain't fat enough. Then he's saying, he's like, oh, you need to bulk up. Then he's like, oh, your arm look too thick. All of this. Like, he has clearly torn down this girl's self-esteem. Literally no sense of self-worth. Like, very clear. And yet, there was never any kind of acknowledgement of that. He was doing the same Tyler and Grind stuff where every time his girl Dead obsessed with him. Like I say, self-esteem on the ground, hell-bent on being with him, fighting for a man who did cheat on her and want to be with her, don't value her, she put it down, all this is the next day. But she ain't checking for none of these men. She hell-bent on being with him. She want this man, oh, I want you to fight for us, blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. Every bonfire, all he's seeing is her whining like, oh, he's put me down and blah, blah, blah. And she just talking about how he's treated her. And him spinning it around like, oh, you see how she talks about me. You see how she doesn't value me. Oh, I'm gonna down, blah, 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 blah. Like, the man is so obviously a misogynist. So obviously a misogynist. And it's even scarier because the way their relationship functioned was far more insidious in the sense that this is a woman, like, this man is exercising control over her life. He's putting her down. There's a certain kind of like tearing at somebody emotional and like psychological abuse that keeps, keep a bitch under your thumb. It's so alarming to me the way those dynamics was obvious. And yet, Mark Wahlberg, the real Mark Wahlberg, ain't got nothing to say. He talking to Jack and Summit, the worst on the show, as though they're like good men who need women who appreciate them.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
So that's how we dealing with them. And yet, Mikey, who ain't do nothing the entire season. Mikey ain't know nothing about having no bitches, let alone doing nothing with no bitches. Mikey ain't do nothing all season but cry. Mikey was crying like there was an Etta James soundtrack playing in the background the entire time. Mikey was crying. And he was crying because all his gal was doing was man. Mikey and Cole, who ain't doing nothing but weeping while their bitches who ain't never liked them cross the island in faces like... And yet, the only person Mark Wahlberg seemed to have any kind of smoke for at the bonfire is them. Like, I feel like everything Mikey say, like, he was just so much more, like, antagonistic towards Mikey. Or, like, when Mikey would respond, Mikey looking at nothing but bonfire, his bitch laying up with another talking about how him. She don't give a about her. She don't care if he live or die. And every time Mikey say something like Mikey cried, he expressed that he hurt or he can't believe it. And I telling you, Mikey handling things, what he's seeing at this bonfire better than any I ever seen. Okay? Better than any I know. And yet, no response he gave is good enough for the real Mark Wahlberg. He was responding constantly to Mikey as though Mikey need to understand his relationship wasn't good, or he was never a good guy, was never a match, or blah, 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 blah. Like, he was always paying this, like, extra lip service to the idea that, like, Mikey deserved whatever's happening. Of course, Sydney doing her... I'm like, what the is going on? What the is going on? Look here. The real Mark Wahlberg was blowing minds to me this season. I was starting to say, hold on, sweetie. Is this anti-blackness? Did I miss this anti-blackness last season because Breon was a diabolical, wicked-ass deserved all that smoke? So I ain't see it because I'm like, hold on. We have cheating, lying bitches, multiple bitches right over here. You ain't got nothing to say to them. But this crying black man who ain't doing nothing but get embarrassed on TV, that's who you getting a little snippy with? I didn't like it. And I just want to say that's my first disappointment of the season because I thought me and Mark go like this. I thought that was my Jack. I couldn't wait to see Mark tell these the truth. And all of a sudden I say, who is this? Didn't like it at all. But anyway, man, let me just tell you about these boring ass couples. Let me at least find out these people's name. Let me be respectful and find out their name if I can talk about them, yeah? That's how stale this was. By the end of season 1, I had a PhD in the characters on Temptation Island. This one ended, I was like... Okay. So the first couple, we got Kaylee and Summit. That's her name. Kaylee ain't got no self-esteem. Then we have Sydney and Mikey, our resident black couple. Then we have Scarlett and Cole. That's her name. Scarlett ain't never liked that man, and we could talk about her later. Then we have Shyanne and Jack. Shyanne is my bitch. Shyanne remind me of who was that I liked last season? Taylor. Shyanne was this season's Taylor, and I liked Taylor. And matter of fact, let me just go ahead and crown Shyanne this season's MVP. Actually, Shyanne was my Jack because Shyanne got her mother lick back, okay? Shyanne was operating on the type of time that I like, but we'll get back to it. But before we unpack their relationship, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, Factor. You know what's actually been helping me stay consistent lately? Not even just with content, but like life in general, is having my food situation together. Because I feel like one of the biggest barriers to getting your life together is that eating well takes so much planning. And if you're busy, it's the first thing that falls apart. which is why I have been using Factor. Factor delivers me fresh, never frozen, chef-crafted meals straight to my door that are ready in literally 2 minutes. Oh, and for me, a non-cooking gal, it just removes the decision fatigue. Like, I don't even have to think about what I'm gonna cook or what groceries I need to buy, knowing that I don't do no kind of cooking or grocery shopping. I just heat it up and I eat. And it's good. Hold on. Genuinely, I was so surprised when I got my Factor meals. They are delicious. No, real life. I didn't even want to share them with TJ no more after I realized how good they was. And what I really like is that it actually supports my routine. It's not just about convenience in a lazy way. It's about making it easier to stay consistent with the habits that I'm trying to build. The meals are made with real ingredients, no refined sugars or artificial stuff. A lot of them have 30 grams or more of protein, which is great if you're like me and have an autoimmune disorder. And they have a ton of options, like more than 100 different kinds of meals every week. So you're never stuck eating the same thing over and over again. And for me, it's especially convenient just to have on the days like this one, so where I'm filming, editing, and writing, so I don't end up skipping meals or ordering something random because I already have my Factor meals available, which makes a way bigger difference than people think. So go to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Illuminati FDG to get 50%. You hear that? 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for a year. Free breakfast for a year. So again, that's code Illuminati FDG at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for a year. Thank you for sponsoring the video Factor. Now back to it. Kaylee and Submit. I guess I ain't nothing to say about them for you. I guess I don't say it.
Kind of crazy how quickly we actually said I love you to each other.
Immediate, just kind of obsession with each other.
Kaylee and Submit come to the show because Kaylee is absolutely in love with Submit. She places all her sense of worth. Literally, they'd be like, what do you want from Submit? Like, what do you want out of this relationship? And she was like, I want to not feel worthless. I want him to make me feel like I'm worth something. And I was like, call the police. Call the police. And listen, I at least appreciated that. What's she name? Lord, I don't know these bitches' names. I at least appreciated that every time Kaylee would get into her like self-loathing, how she can't live without him, she literally was like, I can't live without him. I was appreciative of Scarlett speaking up to say, no, baby, hold on. You absolutely can live without him. You are great. You don't have to live without him, but you absolutely can. Like, please, mom, stand up. Like, what happened? And I want us to see those things more as the cry for help that they are. Like, I need us to understand something. Even like aside from this man, like put him aside and how he is and the fact that I genuinely think he is a big red flag for all these reasons. Inherently, if you are a person who, if you're in a place in your life, because I mean, don't say a person as though it's like a permanent state that you're just a human being who sees no worth in yourself. You could have great self-esteem and still go through moments in your life or be susceptible to feeling low about yourself or not, not seeing your own value innately and whatnot. But I need you to understand that when you don't see your value, when you think that you're not good enough, you think that you're not beautiful enough, you're not smart enough, you're not worth nothing, you feel without the validation and the reassurance of another person, you feel worthless. You yourself are not in a place to be in any relationship, regardless of what that person's intention is. That person might not want to control you or blah, blah, blah. But if you give another person all your control, if you give another person all the power over you, not just to like control your life, but in the sense that how you feel about yourself is completely contingent on how they feel it, that relationship would automatically be toxic, no matter what. Even if Summit wasn't the type of man that was there like putting this woman down and doing all these different things and XYZ, she still ain't in a place to be in a relationship. She has some serious things that she needs to work on, period. And I said that last season about Taylor. Taylor was a real bitch, like for real. Like Taylor would stand up for herself, so I give her that. Taylor would stand up for herself way more than Kaylee. Taylor wasn't just rolling over and taking foolishness. But Taylor last season was also somebody who, when she would talk about her sense of self-esteem and how she broken and all these different things, and XYZ was very clear, like mayday, get this person some help, period. The reason why I think people should take this as a red flag is it is often not an accident that people like this, like people who have low self-esteem, people who are going through shit, people who are susceptible to control and abuse and all these different things, end up in relationships with people who dominate them or domineering or abusive or just maybe don't even rise to the level of abuse, but exercise a certain amount of varied control over their life. And it's because that's what's easiest. Anybody, absolutely any and everybody can be the victim of abuse. Anybody can end up in an abusive relationship. Any and everybody. I identify as a strong bitch. I'm sure y'all identify me as a strong bitch. It is factually true in this world. Strong, smart, all the things. I have been in an abusive relationship. Nobody is exempt, period, no matter who you are. So it'll never be your fault why you end up in those relationships. But I also think that there's something that's true to the fact that there's an additional danger to being somebody that people perceive as somebody that they control, that they could get this over with. Because that's when people run over you. It's like, you ever found yourself being mean to a that like you, that you don't like, who's nice, but you just not being nice to them. And there's something about the recognition that this person will take the bullshit that makes you give the bullshit. So I said it to say, Kaylee ain't in no position to be in a relationship, period. Even independent of Summit, everything that girl was saying was screaming, get her in front of a counselor right now. Because the way that she's thinking at that young too, 20 something, and you ready to give up your life to a man that you've already recognized don't with you the same way, that makes you feel less than, that puts you down, and all this is in the next thing. She is in a dangerous place. And as far as Summit, he ultimately, I will give him credit for, he ultimately didn't do anything with any of the women in the house. He didn't do anything with any of the women. There was an opportunity during a game where they dared him to go kiss somebody, and he took that opportunity to not kiss any of these bitches. He gone and like play kiss Mikey, and I give him points for that. And was there something else I was to give him credit for? Anything else positive he do? I guess he chose his woman. It wasn't without constantly using, like, I don't like a man who rewrites the narrative, who knows what things are. I remember when he first heard a Bonfire clip of her expressing that he puts her down, he admitted to it. He said that it was true. He literally said, yeah, I say this, I might tell her, you know, get her ass fatter and blah, blah, blah. He explicitly acknowledged that what she was saying was true. He literally sent her, in his message that he sent her when they get the opportunity to send each other a video message, he literally said, I've never put you down, so it hurt to hear you talking about me like that and blah, blah, blah. You admit to putting her down already. He completely flipped the whole narrative to like, oh, he's the victim. Having a woman who is like, make this up and don't value him. All these pull this like, well, if I'm such a bad guy, why are you in the relationship? And you know what's crazy? They be meaning that. That's a reverse psychology to get out of taking accountability for whatever the problem is. To turn, in any relationship, there are going to be problems. Nobody is perfect. Always going to be issues and needs that need to be communicated. And a healthy relationship involves communicating those things and having those things heard, and your partner making changes and effort and compromise happening between you. But these men were doing a reverse psychology where they position these women trying to communicate and tell them what their problems are, what their needs are, what needs to change, as though if you appreciated me, if you loved me, if you were in a relationship you were supposed to be or whatever, if I wasn't a good dude or whatever, then why are you with me? If I have these problems, then why are you with me? And the gag is they be doing that as a way to get out of taking accountability, to get out of making this change. But the irony is, you know what? Their reverse psychology, rhetorical bullshit ass question is correct. Because in actuality, it's like, yes, you know what? If you feel like your man puts you down, does not respect you, treats you like he thinks that you're not good enough for him, makes you feel like shit, makes you feel worthless, you shouldn't be in a relationship with him. He's not saying that from a genuine place. He knows that you ain't gonna leave him. That's the thing. They recognize that you ain't going nowhere. That's the problem with confronting men about how they mistreat you when they know you ain't going nowhere. You have no leverage, so they ain't entertaining it. It's not like he's actually genuinely trying to empower her to see her worth and realize that she could do better than him and she deserves a better relationship than him. He just saying it in order to turn it around on her like, then why you with me? Like a child. But you know what, bitches? When these start saying that to y'all, get to running. Get to running. And that's the type of time he was on the entire season, like spinning it around. By the time like he first get there and he was acting like he's Mr. Bitches because he got a bunch of bracelets and he in the gals' faces and he constantly telling them like, oh, you're social like me. You're fun and energetic like me. I feel like Kaylee doesn't appreciate my personality. I feel like, oh, because she finds it flirty. And you are flirting. You literally sitting in a bitch face flirting, trying to like pass it off. So he was doing all that. Like he was constantly talking to these gals and making it seem like these gals are better than her. But they carried on like Mark Wahlberg and this show carried on like because he ain't these bitches and he ain't kiss the bitches and he ain't touch the bitches and he's deciding to be with her, that changes anything. It's like, no, it's actually that much scarier. There are some, no, not some men, there are lots of men who pick wives because they look at wife as what a wife is and building a family as an obligation, as something they will have to do as a part of life, and that there is a particular kind of woman that portrays, that does the role of wife. And that's usually one in their minds that is subservient, that is going to let let them lead. That's gonna this, da 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 da. A woman that is amenable, not necessarily a woman they love or they think is their first choice or they really desire anything. A woman that is amenable. They will choose a woman that they think is best suited to wife, knowing they don't really feel, they don't really love her, they don't really this. And those are the scariest things. So to me, the fact that he chose in the end he was gonna be with her didn't like make this relationship like healthy. It's not been healthy the whole time. She literally depends on this man for psychological validation. She's basically expressed that she's in an emotionally abusive relationship. Him picking her don't be in shit. The way that, listen, let me not blame it. Let me not put it on Netflix. Let me not put it on Netflix because this is just the world. I see this often. This reminds me of like Nowhere Near. Let me be clear. Because Summit wasn't being violent or screaming and angry or any of those things. You just could hear about the covert control and manipulation and like put downs he does in his relationship. But he himself wasn't like a volatile, violent, angry like somebody like Matt in Love is Blind and the season with Matt and Colleen was. To me, it's the same kind of like these shows are not cautious enough. Society is not more concerned about what it means when women and people are ceding their power to dynamics where they're literally telling you, make them feel less than. So they stayed together at the end, but I didn't think that was a good thing or a surprising thing. Let me do Scarlett and Cole next, since it ain't gonna be too much long talks.
It was my idea to come to the island. I need someone that makes me feel safe.
This gal, this is so draining, child, because when it first starts, she makes it seem like she's like, oh, he's lied to me before. Like, he's lied to me. He lies to me about things. So you think that this is man lying to her, da 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 da. What you realize is she is like incredibly controlling, suspicious, and insecure. Like she's super suspicious of like other women, any woman around. She think it's something or whatever, like woman friend, anything. So because she is carrying on like that, like if he happens to see a woman in passing, a female friend, it's on the whole thing or something, he might not say nothing because he know how she is carrying on. Like to the point where at one point in time, they played the bonfire because he was never doing nothing wrong. He didn't check for no women. He didn't do nothing at all, even remotely inappropriate. He was talking about how she don't trust him despite the fact that he does all this for her, like nothing or whatever. He's like, I'm a good boyfriend, I'm a good man, I do right by her, XYZ. Like, yes, I've lied about a couple of things, but she don't even ever want to talk about why I'm lying about these like random things. And after she sees that clip, she responds as though she dropping this bomb. She was like, if this was like in the past, then that'd be different. But he's been doing this as early as last week or just before we came here. And you think that like she means he cheat on her, he did something, or he be with gals, or he do something to like betray her trust. And you realize like it's something as small as like it really is a situation where it's clearly like a gal who like one of them gals who thinks no women, speak to women, see women in passing, have a female friend, nothing. It's clearly just one of them gals who could carry on like, I saw you in her likes, you know what I mean? Like, and so he's the one head annoyed, so he'll just don't say nothing. But anyway, she's super like that, super controlling. She's super paranoid. She's very paranoid, suspicious, XYZ. He gotta tell her his every movement, blah, blah, blah. If he ain't telling her every movement, she ain't this. But here's the gag. She set all these like rules and parameters for them to be in the house. Like, oh, don't touch no gals, no cheating, no this, you know what I mean? Don't be having no intimate relationship with women. All, you know, the rules that you're supposed to have in a relationship. He goes there and abiding by this. He ain't checking for no women. And because you come to realize across the season is like, oh, she just doesn't like him. All these gals, because we could talk about Sydney too, they come across as though like you give them the benefit of the doubt that a man that's coming on a boyfriend on Temptation Island is a piece of shit. That's generally the rule of thumb. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, these men must have done something horrible. They doing something awful or whatever. Because like that's how Sydney moving. And then you come to realize like, oh no, they just don't like them. Like she was doing all this like hubba blue and her mind ain't cheating. It's like she was hoping that he cheated, that he did something so she could break up with him. It's clear like she came to this show knowing she wasn't going to be with that man. You come to find out eventually, she keeps saying, like, at first she keeps saying, like, she says it the entire season. She's like, he doesn't have depth. I need depth. I need depth. I need depth. I need depth. She keeps saying that. And eventually you come to realize, like, oh, this by depth, this bitch means excitement, aka drama. The man was doing all kind of like, at first you think, oh, she mean he need to be more emotionally vulnerable. He need to, she's like, oh, have a deep conversation. This man bearing his soul the entire season. Every bonfire bearing his soul, telling all his feelings, mine in tears, doing all it. And she like, you know, it's just not the depth. It's not deep enough. I'm not getting that feeling and da-da-da. And eventually you just realize like, she just don't like her. And let me just say this about these bitches in general. And Everybody on the show. She was talking to this one dude, Bradley, in the house. She didn't do nothing with him, but that's the dude who face she was all up in. That's who she liked. And she's like, oh, you know, I'm not getting that depth and blah, blah, blah. And I'm realizing like, oh, the things that I don't have in my relationship, like, is the things that I need most. And all it is like, bitch, you're attracted to this. What depth you getting from this man? This Bradley, her man, she ain't into him. The irony is, and I hate to say it, like I really genuinely hate to say it, because I hate to sound like like I'm Patrice O'Neal, like a stand-up comedian telling you like, oh, in order for gals to like a man, she has to see other women like him too. But in these two bitches' case, it was very clear that their men were following the rules. Like, let me not cheat on my woman. Let me not engage these women in a way that would bring about anything romantic or sexual. They like completely friend zoning themselves. You can tell that their women interpreting that as like, oh, don't nobody want these like, don't find them desirable because they ain't doing like that very much is clear. I think she wanted any excuse. She just didn't want that man because nothing she was even saying about him was true. Like, it was clear. She just is like, oh, I'm not in that depth. I'm not in those feelings and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, you just ain't on your man run, period. That's all it is. She started talking about, oh my God, I forget when she started talking about making astrology bitches look bad. But what was it? Energy? When she started talking about, oh, I'm big on energy. And she says something silly. And it became clear like, oh, you're a silly bitch. I see. Like at first, because she was generally pretty likable and like level-headed when she was talking to like Kaylee and the other girls. And again, like I said, if you weren't seeing her man, if you weren't seeing the whole thing, if you just heard her in a vacuum, you think, oh, she talking sense. Like when a woman says like, oh, I need more depth in my relationship. She's like, oh, I need us to have a deep conversation. I need for us to really da-da-da-da-da. You think, oh, okay, yeah, those are reasonable things to want. Until you realize that her man is doing all of those things and she's still like, you realize, oh, she's just fishing for something. She just don't like the man. It's period. And that's what it really boiled down to by the end. Like, she's like, oh, I need somebody who sets my soul on fire. And I'm like, let me tell you, I talk about this pretty much every time I talk about Carrie Bradshaw, the last Carrie Bradshaw video, the Petrovsky video. But I'm telling you, a lot of people are attracted to, they like dysfunctional relationships and stability and drama and stuff because it feels exciting to them. They like the up and down and the yo-yo and the da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not saying that like it's insane to ever feel like that or ever to be into that or to be into excitement or whatever and XYZ. But I think it comes a time in life where you got to recognize when you operating like that. And that's what's really happening, and stop trying to wrap it up in all these other words. But that's all it is. She wanted drama, and Cole, he was too boring for her. It's that simple. Boring being, oh, I love you, I want to be with you, I want to keep the relationship together, you say this is what you need and you need me to not cheat and stuff, so I'll just do that. And she didn't want that. She wants something that feel I'm like, you think you like Bradley and he's setting on fire and so definitely that's just because he's a on a show that first of all is in your face for camera time, not because he really love you, beau, because he look good and y'all have sexual tension because you trying not to him because you have that's the only thing that's making it exciting. Like that's it. I am so drained. I felt very bad for this man. And I feel angry at bitches making me have to feel bad for men. I really hate that. Because I went into it with the default assumption that all that was in shit. I'm telling you, I went in, I was hating on Mikey and Cole off principle, just assuming that they've done a bunch of and giving them a horrible backstory and all this, just waiting to see the wickedness. Only to see, oh no, oh wow, oh no, these is actually nice crying ass who love their gal and their gal don't like them. Their gals clearly know they've been finished with these and they took them on this show like this is a perfect opportunity. Me take this ass relationship. It's my opportunity to get on a reality TV show and jumpstart my thing and go get out of this. That was very clear. I promise you all, I would bet money. Like, you don't understand how there's no doubt in my mind that when they got there, Sydney and what's she name? What this bitch? Scarlett? That's what she name, right? Scarlett, Sydney, and Scarlett. Damn bitches did not like them. Like they didn't like them, period. And that's all it is. Ain't nothing they could have do. While we at it, let me finally talk about Mikey and Sydney. I'm gonna say a series of things.
I love Sydney. Like, I love her from the soles to her feet to the top of her head.
I definitely want a future with Mikey, but I just feel like this is more so about me seeing if he can be the person that he's saying he is.
I feel compelled to get some justice for Mikey today. Yes, God, find out. Look here. I hate having to do. I hate feeling for men in any capacity. I hate having to come up here and like have to do all this. But like, look here. All right. Oh, and I forgot. I forgot the one reason that I didn't like Mikey out the gate. Why I assumed he was just the worst ever and I should just preemptively hate him. I don't know if y'all peep, but that has a Take Care tattoo. Like right here, like Drake album Take Care, like in the Take Care font. Fantastic album, a classic. But having a Drake Take Care tattoo just, it gives like a commitment to like, take care is what you tatted on your body. You on bullshit. So that was the original reason I was hating on that unfairly. When they first get there, like it's clear, like Mikey, what I will give is that Mikey annoying. I would be annoyed by him. Like yes, annoying. He like playful. He very, like, I think what made him seem more annoying to me, by the end of the show, it felt more sincere and it felt less annoying in retrospect. But when the show first starts and he dad playfully and always making jokes, he make, goofy, funny faces, just the way he's very animated, just the way he's whoop his face and thing. And when you if you assume a man is probably a cheater or a piece of shit who been doing shit to a woman, and then you see him and he playful and that shit is annoying. So you automatically, because I assumed nefariousness on his part from the moment of his arrival, I was very annoyed by him out the gate. But I was annoyed by him assuming he was a particular kind of waiting to see that or whatever come to the forefront. Now I'll tell you what I will give this. This is what I'll give Sydney. In real life, he's an alpha, and I don't know what sorority. I can't remember if she's an AK or a Delta or something, but I know she's in a sorority. And he's alpha, and they fresh out of college and they dated in college. And and there was references about like, oh, who he was in college or XYZ and blah blah blah. Now this much I am sure. Despite what you may personally feel about Mikey and whether or not you think he's attractive and blah 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 blah, and we could talk about that, about desirability and fat phobia and all these different things and how that comes into play and how people see, perceive, treat, and discuss Mikey in a minute. But regardless of what y'all think about Mikey, and what I know about college campuses, and I'll tell you this, a who was an alpha, you gotta see niggas in their element. A who was an alpha on campus, getting bitches, all right? And there was a life, especially a friendly when people face, he joking, You seeing him on Netflix, Temptation Island, surrounded by all these, more conventionally attractive and play buff niggas and yada, 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 yada. So you're not seeing him in his element where he's the catch, where he's this or whatever. But in the environment they was in, I assure you, it was a different circumstance. And I promise you, he had holes and you would see him different. Because a lot of how men are perceived to us depends on how they are performing masculinity at that moment and what kind of environment they're in and the context in which we seeing them in. There's a big difference between how that man, I'm sure, seemed to her, how she looked at him on their yard, you know what I mean, in college, how he seemed more desirable when gals want him. And I'm telling you, gals want all the Greek, the losers and could cross, and gals want them, especially Alpha. If you ask me, Alpha's my faves. Anyway, I'm sure there's a way he looks to her on her college campus and how she know it to be versus how he appeared in this environment. All of a sudden, her is, the least desirable, or people ain't desiring him, they ain't checking for him. In her mind, she's seeing her mind behaving, and all the gals like, in the friend zone, having the friend zone, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, he don't look as good to her. I assumed at first, like, oh, he obviously was who was cheating and doing a bunch of shit or whatever in college and stuff. That's how practice give it up, especially the alphas. The alphas love to have them a main bitch, a woman they done plan to marry. They can marry a couple years after school. They dating her the entirety of college and they cheating the whole time. Top tier alpha shit, right? I automatically assume I gave it a benefit of the doubt of this probably was doing a bunch of in college, doing a bunch of shit. And so now we seeing her at a point where she done sick of him, fed up or whatever. He might be being this nice in front of us or whatever now and da-da-da. But let me tell y'all something. Not only did we hear him say and her never rebut and her say like that he was never unfaithful like this, because he had, made the point of like this is his first relationship where he was completely faithful, right? So that wasn't the issue. And at no point in time does Sydney, anytime she be like, oh, I'm done with him, I'm just over it and nothing's gonna change, da-da-da, she never said like what he do, like what the problem is, what the big crime is. And I can tell y'all, listen to me. Listen to me, and you ain't gonna fool me. I don't think there's nothing wrong if a woman don't like it, period. Like whatever. If you decide, and do you something or whatever, and you want to get him back in blood, period. If you don't care about his feelings or whatever, period. But do your thing. Do whatever the you want to do. I'm here for you. I support women's wrongs and their rights, right? Period. Let me be clear about what the situation is. That woman didn't like that man when she got there. There's nothing he could have do or say. Understand me and understand me good. What happened? That little North Carolina lady who was dating in college and she been dating that is her serious relationship from college, who probably seemed like a big thing on their campus was Alpha, got on this Netflix show. She brought him in. She was done sick of that man. She brought him on that show. show knowing she was could switch up. I'm telling you, she wasn't on that man run no type of motherfucking how. She saw Xavier. She saw a Netflix looking. She saw a fine. And immediately she was infatuated, locked in, stuck on that, completely distracted. Her. And let me tell you something. That's fine, you know. I ain't even saying she's wrong, but let's be clear about what happened. At first, I gave her that on the first episode. He was extra friendly, and I hate a friendly ass. He made friends because immediately friends. He created a dynamic, like being friendly with the gals, not romantic, not anything like that. Like, oh, y'all the homies, calling you the three amigos and da-da-da. And at first, because I assumed like, oh, he must be a cheater or something, like we could see him become a horrible something or whatever, I assumed like, oh, he's one of them friendly ass who won't be in bitch's face being extra friendly because da 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 da. So I was like on her side at being annoyed by that and thinking, okay, yeah, like yeah, because I figured he could do something. And at one point in time, his only little comment that he said something like what they showed had the bonfire in episode 1 is he had said something like, oh, India, but one of the gals, India, who was like talking to him the whole show, but like we all know that gal didn't like him. Nobody like there was nothing romantic happening with him, her, nobody else with him. But he had said something like, oh, you know, she's a really cool girl. Like I could see myself, like who knows, like I could fall for somebody. He said something like that. So I had gave her like, oh, irritated. Yeah, like, all right, him then. But it was so clear, like when I tell you nothing else he do, nothing else, nothing. And my girl, like she didn't give a rat's ass because it was very clear. She came there to move on. And that's cool, but that's what happened. Let me make it clear, ain't nothing that man did on the show or could have do differently or anything. If he didn't make that comment, if he wasn't friendly, if he whatever, she wasn't on his run. I could say a few things about her and Xavier. First of all, he is fine. He is fine. I understand. I am not saying that as a 20-some-year-old gal, my could be this and I see this other and I don't get distracted. You on TV, you getting TV fine. I don't know what old boy might do to her in college or why he wasn't, up to snuff boyfriend or whatever. I'm sure he did something to in her spirit make her feel like him. Anything I do to him is fine. But I'll say this. It's clear to me that she already knows she didn't have no feelings no more for that man. While I ain't could kick her back in for moving on, let's not do the fake shit, the bullshit. Like if she was a man, I would be calling out the fact that you come on this show with this man, acting like, oh, you love him and you good and you have this intention to be with him and it's up to you. You know you didn't like that man. You used that man in that relationship to come on this show. That's period. That's all it is.
Got him.
She ain't like that man into the sensitivity of his feelings. Like he said several times. I'm telling you, that man was crying all season, bawling, and she did not care. Like when I tell you, she ain't give a You ain't never seen a bitch not give a like that.
I don't feel anything.
The thing is, that's what I want to see, but that's what I need to see happen to worse. I think that's the problem, is that Mikey genuinely, he ain't do nothing to deserve the kind of I don't give a that she was on. And it was just like, I'm telling you, a gal who was standing 10 toes down or not giving a and messing with a whole nother and doing all this and da-da-da-da-da. If she had some real smoking gun ammunition crimes this committed, she would have shared them. Every other gal, crime. She just like, it's too late. Oh, he ain't changed. I don't believe it. I'm over it. I see what I deserve now and that I was settling. And ultimately, that's really what it, like, listen, she didn't have nothing. She didn't have no big crimes, no big nothing that he did or what horrible he's been to her. The truth of the matter is, she genuinely, and I've experienced this before, where you realize that you could pull of a particular caliber. She got accustomed to a new standard of living. She saw a man that she thought is way better looking than him, more desirable than him, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 and said, oh, if I could pull a like this, what I in this face for, I am settling for this. And as painful and heartbreaking, and maybe even shallow as that may be, because like I said, we could talk about it, but a lot of how Mikey is perceived and Mikey's feelings and da-da-da has a lot to do with desirability. We can get to that. But regardless of how you feel about it, like that's what it is. And that's what was happening there. And I ain't gonna kick her back in for that, but I will say this. To my original point on, yes, Xavier is fine. And I ain't gonna say like, oh, you wrong to, you a young girl, put your notch on your belt, do whatever, collect the fine. I ain't saying, oh, don't, whatever. But there's such a delusion with which, like, she was operating on, I understand, as Black women, we love to see it so rare on any of these dating shows, especially a Netflix dating show, that we see a Black woman getting loved up, getting any play, let alone a Black couple pairing where they both look good and he seemed like he into and all that and yada, yada, yada. I know we want to see that, but let's come back down to reality for a second. This is a show. Yes! All of the single men and the single women in these houses are there for screen time. And they're being paid as actors to act as temptation. They are in the house and their job is to pretend to like you bitches. Is to pretend to be better than your That is the temptation. Like, ooh, are you gonna stay with your shitty or like be tempted by me as I pretend to be everything your ain't because you're in the house telling me everything that your ain't, right? Like, that's what it is. He is a good looking that came on a show so he could be seen and build his platform so he could go be a fine go be in a bunch of other Netflix dating shows and get other opportunities in XYZ. When he come up there with his guitar and he played a song for you, think he played a song for her because he love her? Or that he wanted to show the world that he know how to play the guitar, that he is do music?
Whoa. Think about it, think.
Y'all need to think. I say this to say, to me, if you're gonna leave Mikey, you're not interested in Mikey, cool. If you're gonna leave Mikey because you want the opportunity to get with like Xavier and other and da-da-da-da, you went on this run, that's fine. But specifically being like, Mikey and my serious relationship I'm in, because I'm telling myself now that this man, she was literally saying it like she was gushing over him. And I don't care what y'all say, Xavier was never given all the energy that she was given. When she was in that confessional, like, oh, we're dating. You should have seen Xavier. When she first started, like, oh, all of a sudden she trip up off Xavier, you could have seen the like body language of the fair, like, oh shit, like, because he's supposed to be playing a role. And normally there's can't police gals, they be committed to their Sydney is the first gal you ever see so boldly like, this it's my ain't doing nothing. Every other woman on the history of Temptation Island, and by the history I mean of these 2 seasons I've seen on Netflix, every other woman, for her to go mess with another in the house, her had to do something, had to cheat in the bonfires. Not Sydney. Not Sydney. Sydney watching her man cry because he missed her. Immediately, she picked that out. The minute she saw him at the lineup, that's who she picked for the first date. And she was on him like white on rice from that minute forward.
I fucking own you. You're mine now. You ain't going no fucking where. I'm about to be your last girlfriend. I'm about to be your only girlfriend. I'm about to be your wife. You're mine.
If you want to leave Mikey, leave Mikey. But leaving Mikey, because you telling yourself, she like, oh, Xavier, like, she's like, oh, here's this man here ready to give me everything I wanted, everything that he didn't do, and da-da-da-da-da, and treats me like this and makes me feel so, like, her in particular, and it was really blowing me, but all these gals, but her in particular, was talking as though, like, these men, the single men in the house really changed their life, taught them their worth to change. I was like, what the are you dumb bitches talking about? Are you stupid? These is in this house, they're video vixen in the house, paying there to be there, to be up in your face and to act like they like you. They there looking for exposure and to baby claps and cheeks. If they are y'all stupid? Do you believe? Like, it is terrifying. It is terrifying seeing 4 single women try to tell you they've grown and who they've changed. They now know themselves because a house full of complimented them. Because a bunch of don't know them from Adam, paying them lip service. Now you're like, oh, I'm changing. Oh, he's gonna give me words, gonna give me everything. Like, bitch, are you stupid? And I understand. Listen, I understand they're in their young 20s, which is tantamount to being stupid. It's just beyond you. You can't even help yourself. But oh my God, like, listen, and I'll be like, oh, he could give me the world, he could give me this. I'd be like, girl, you'll be lucky. You'll be lucky if you see that for true. You know what I mean? I'm like, girl, look here. I mean, she was really like trip. And I'm just like, what part of the game is this? I ended up feeling, I gone from actively being against Mikey on principle, like waiting to see like this horrible and I am like, damn, I feel sorry for this babe. Because he wasn't doing nothing wrong. He wasn't doing anything wrong in the house. So that's what really set the reality in, that this woman who's sitting up here acting like, oh, who was just telling you she loved you. And he mentioned like, oh, she was literally just at my sister's wedding in the front row next to my mommy, talking about how she loved her son. Like, he was really blown away. Like, I can't believe this. The woman I really was like, we was in a serious committed relationship 2 seconds ago. And now she literally don't give a about me, don't care. And I was literally that serious. And it was clear, like, oh wow, like, you really just didn't give a damn about this. And like, that ain't nice, dog. Like, I'm telling you, like, hun, Scarlett brought their there as a means to ending those relationships and moving on. And they really thought their man was going to cheat to make it easy on them. That reminds me, I move on from Scarlett before I even mention this part. Damn. So Scarlett, back to, we gotta jump back into Scarlett and Cole. I forget this. So Scarlett, they had all these boundaries. Scarlett is a gal, dad, paranoid, but her man, speaking of women, even breeding in women direction. So they have all these boundaries. They ain't supposed to do nothing, blah, 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 blah. When her man don't cheat, she could send him back. I'm telling you, her audio message she sent him when they got an opportunity to send each other a message was so crazy. This gal was like complaining that this man wasn't cheating. He wasn't like acting like he wasn't taking this experience seriously by only thinking about her feelings and honoring their like boundaries. Like the whole point of Temptation Island is to prove like, oh, you brought your partner here that you think you can't trust. And now you want to put them up and see how they react with temptation. Make sure that they could still honor you. They still be faithful. Here he is doing all of that. Just talking about his feelings, thinking about their relationship, blah, 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 blah. She starts complaining that the man is doing what she asks. Like, oh, I wish we hadn't set such hard boundaries. And she's like, you're so worried about not cheating and the cheating aspect of it that you're not making the most of this experience and like getting to know people and like getting to know people, like getting to know yourself through these people. This girl literally started complaining that this man ain't cheating on her.
Damn.
And she tried to spin it. I was like, oh, you're a gaslighting Gretzky bitch. Like, listen, y'all know me. I'm an equal opportunity shooter. I will drag these bitches if they on the same bullshit too. The amount of manipulation and reverse, like, oh my God. She want to be in another face, Bradley. She knows she don't like her. She knows she want to move on, but she wanted him to do something bad. She wanted him to act in a way that would give her something to justify or whatever. Because he wasn't doing anything wrong, she fishing. She bending herself right the up. I mean, twisting herself into knots, trying to come up with a way to like make him the problem. Like, oh, you're not cheating? Well, that means you're not like taking advantage of this experience, which means like you don't take us seriously. You're not interested in that.
For being so nice and show them how fucking crazy you are.
I was sick of her. Anyway, back to Sydney and Mikey. I ended up feeling so bad for Mikey, and I seen like a lot of the commentary and like how people was talking about him online and seeing the things. I'm like, first and foremost, the only reason why you think like Xavier is some big thing, you know, he's so happy is because you think he look good. That's it. Y'all think he look good and you don't think Mikey look good. That's it. Because if Mikey was a who looked dead good, y'all had perceived the shit a whole different way. Y'all perceive the entire thing a different way. And a lot of why I don't think he looked good is because of his weight. First of all, let me say this. It was nice seeing like a plump dude on the show, like, or some like the way these shows are designed to only have the most people on these shows, like, oh, only models. It was nice seeing a plump dude up there, and it was sad seeing him be treated like, oh.
It's a given that I'm a better option than Mikey. I'm no stranger to serious conversation.
I don't like it. And I see how people talk to him. But the second thing I was gonna say, it needs to be studied. If you notice how often people go on these dating shows and the next time you see them after that dating show, by the time their like season is running, they've gotten so slim, gotten this or whatever. And that should tell you about the pressures of how their bodies are perceived and picked apart and all of this. And like the need to like lose weight and do all of this to prove you glow up to a world about to like look down on you. It's wild. And I see it all the time with all these shows. Like I think of so many, and it's usually gals. But the too, this be getting all kind of filler, all kind of work done. All these, by the time they season come out, they trying to like be in the best, whatever. And same thing with Mikey. Mikey's lost a bunch of weight like from the show. And I hate the idea that like people feel like in order for you to be desirable, you show you doing well, glow up or whatever, like, oh, he had to go get abs and muscle. Like he couldn't be like worthwhile in the state. It has made me sick, yo. But it was clear to me, it's so funny because I see like people talking or whatever online about how he done lost weight or his glow up or whatever, like, oh yeah, oh, now I can say, oh, this is what you look like, you should look like this on the show, all this. It was clear to me from time that that's a like who in his final form, like, oh, his college on the yard self was in a different kind of shape and getting bitches and XYZ and blah blah blah. And like that's the when you like him. And it says, listen, I could have tell that was the case, and then he probably post school done gained some weight, XYZ, blah blah blah. And now he gets put in this environment where he getting treated like chopped liver. Like I felt bad for Mikey.
It's an evil world we live in.
I really felt bad for Mikey and Cole, because the two of them was doing their endeavor best, like, oh, let me respect my relationship. Let me be all about her. Even like what I really respect, and say what you want, that man watched week after week his gal making out with the next. She done claim him. She don't care about her. She whatever. Like she don't got no love in her heart for him. And he's seeing it. And he still never disrespected her. He never called a woman out her name. He never violated her. He never say nothing like stinking about her. Like he was still trying to like, oh, let's leave with love. We could do this, blah, blah, blah. Like I need you to understand what kind of words a would call you if you and him in a long-term serious relationship, y'all going Temptation Island, he don't do nothing and he's seeing you week after week with the next thing on top of the next thing. Like you need to leave. And that man still was nice, crying, this, da, 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 da. I say, I feel for him. I felt for him. I don't care what you say. I felt for him, and I think it's like, I don't think Sydney, that's not even me saying Sydney's a villain. I think it's always a mistake. You know, what they say, the 80-20 rule, you leave 80% for 20%, thinking, oh, you can get it all, this and the next thing. I think it's a mistake. If you was just sure about your relationship that you wanted, which I don't think is true, because like I say, I believe she knows she didn't want to be with him, and she just come on the show. She just swing him into getting him on this show so she could do what she wanted to do. But if you was sure you was in a serious long-term relationship with a man, and you was sure about him, and you was doing your relationship with him, and you knew that this was what you was going to do, and y'all was going to ride it out in XYZ, and then you meet some new you don't know from nowhere who you think look good and all that. I think it is a mistake, and you will be left with egg on your face thinking, oh, let me leave my that I know, and the relationship that I know, and the investment that I know, and the investment that I've made for some man who I'm only seeing his representative on a TV show. I had to remind myself she young. I think she like 24 or something. I look, or I don't know, 20. I don't know. She young. We want to think it's cute and all that, but I have sense. I don't know what to tell you. I have sense. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Xavier on The Perfect Match or some other thing. So yeah, anyway, justice for Mikey. I finished with that.
You idiot. You're honestly an idiot. I don't know what's wrong with you.
And then last, but certainly not least, is Shyanne and Jack.
So we've been together for 5 years, but it's deeper than 5 years.
Before I cheated, the relationship was as perfect could be. Like, I wouldn't have changed anything.
I done touched on this earlier. Jack ain't shit. He's this season's Grant. Fight it up! So he was messing with one gal, a little young gal, 22-year-old gal, and then he going messing with another gal, Yesenia, like 2 bitches. And playing the victim, gaslighting, manipulative, trying to swing everything around. He was busting. I'm telling you, he was a combination of Grant and Tyler. Because he was moving like Grant. He was a cheater and trifling just like Grant, and definitely a victim player like Grant, but he was doing the specific Tyler talking points of being like, oh, she's put me down, she said I don't have money, blah 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 blah, like, this guy stinks. Sickening ass. So ain't nothing special to say about him. What is worth commenting on is Shyanne, because Shyanne believe in getting her lick back. Let me tell you something. The second Shyanne saw that man making out with the next bitch, she say it's done, and I carrying on bad in here. My girl grabbed, what's his name? Preston. She grabbed Preston and she say, oh, that's my now. And she was on Preston body. And the next bonfire, she had me weak, as my girls say. She said I was going into these bonfires with anxiety. Like, I don't know what I'm going to see. Like, is he going to cheat? But now I know. She's like, I don't feel any anxiety because I know he's going to cheat. That's what I'm going to see. She said, and I know exactly what the he's going to see. He going to see me in the room with Preston. He can see me in the haven with Preston. He can see me with Preston here kissing. And I can't wait. My girl was in there going blow for blow. Like, oh, listen, I cheat back. That's what she said. She was in there getting her motherfucking lick back, and as she should. Honestly, work. And what's so funny about these, because like I say, Jack is just a wannabe Grant, because when it was time to send the message, he went him cheating the whole time, done cheat with multiple gals, constantly talking and trying to lie and set this narrative that he's the victim and she treated him bad and he deserved better and he been in a cage and he da-da-da, trying to spin around, literally trying to concoct narratives. He tried come up with a story, he pull out his ass. She cheated first, and she had gone with a guy and kissed him, and then I cheated after I cheated the full way and somebody, and they was like, well, how come you never said that? And he was like, oh, I was trying to make her look good. Boy, shut up. Ain't no sitting next to no woman talking about how he cheated on her and ruined the trust in the relationship, and she cheated first and he ain't saying that, he's just allowing that. Like, yo, that boy could talk up a bunch of shit. That's the story and the lies. He putting out the narrative. He putting out to these people. He never saying that foolishness to her. He in they face like, oh, she treat me bad and she's talking about me bad. I realized like that's always been a thing in our relationship, of her talking down on me and she don't respect me and blah 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 blah. He's saying all of this, but when he's getting her face, now look, him who knows she been at the bonfire, seeing him cheat with multiple bitches, he could say a thing, but oh, I love you and this and I miss you and blah 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 blah. And then when she, like the real that she is, and send him nothing back, he like, I can't believe. And then he go back to the villa and he in front of these bitches like, oh, I gotta stop thinking about me and doing for me and blah blah blah, like as though he been doing anything else. Him. At least my girl is a gal, like I say, Shyanne's down on business. At the final bonfire and the meetup, she tell him about his ass, and they very much so ended their relationship and gone their separate ways like they should. That was it. That was Temptation Island season 2. Underwhelming, but we're here. Okay, so after I already recorded this, the Temptation Island reunion dropped at Nick Vile's YouTube channel. I didn't know that was happening because that never used to be a thing, but apparently Nick Vile struck some kind of blood deal with Netflix, and now he gets all the reunions for all the reality shows they never gave reunions to. So now he just get into the bag. So I'm gonna watch that reunion. There's actually 2 parts, and after I watch it, I'll make a video about that y'all will get later on. So yeah, you'll get all my thoughts on whatever new developments I don't know anything about. This video was just about the season. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, it's your lucky day because you just found it on one of 7 channels inside my Olurinati-verse. Subscribe to Olurinati, my flagship channel, where you'll find my magnum opuses like If Pretty is a Privilege, Ugly is a Curse, How This Didn't Age Well Destroyed Media Literacy, How Men Become Aziz Ansari, and more. Subscribe to Olurinati Pop for my TV and film essays on shows like How I Met Your Mother, Sex and the City, Desperate Housewives, You, Euphoria, Insecure, and so many more. You can also join Olurinati Pop on Patreon to watch all of my YouTube videos uncensored. Subscribe to Olurinati Bites for short, serious, and nuanced commentary on whatever the internet is spiraling about. Subscribe to Olay and Chill if you're trying to laugh and chill while unpacking the latest TikTok chaos. Subscribe to Olurinati Politics for sharp breakdowns of the political moments shaping our lives right now. Subscribe to Olurinati Extras for music commentary and industry deep dives. Subscribe to Olay and Friends to watch your favorite Black thinkers and creators dissect the culture. Subscribe to any or all the channels in the Olurinati-verse that speak to you, and I'll see you there. And you can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky at Olurinati. And you can also follow Olurinati Pop and Olay and Chill on Instagram and TikTok so you never miss a thing.